It's 10 minutes before 8 here on the program as we continue to look at the life and times of the late Ahmed Kathrada, unfortunately passing during the early hours of this morning. We're still waiting for the funeral arrangements to be announced. There's a meeting currently taking place between religious leaders to decide exactly how it's going to happen. As you know, Ahmed Kathrada was Muslim, and of course he will be buried in conjunction with Muslim burial rites. So it should be before sunset today, those details coming. There was one point in the interview that Palesa was having with Judge L.B. Sachs where he spoke about how Ahmed Kathrada addressed the nation and the world at Nelson Mandela's funeral. And there was one part that came out of it. And I think as much as he spoke about his friend in this manner at his funeral, I almost feel we can speak about him in this manner. There was one line that I'll just quote for you here. While he was standing up, and I think it was one of the most emotional speakers at the funeral, he said, "Mandela, while we may be drowned in sorrow and grief, we salute you as a fighter for freedom to the end. Farewell, my elder brother, my mentor, my leader. With all the energy and determination at our command, we pledge to join the people of South Africa and of the world to perpetuate the ideals and values for which you have devoted your life." Those were the words that Ahmed Kathrada spoke of his friend Nelson Mandela. And I think today, on this day, we speak those words to Ahmed Kathrada.
All right, we do know that Ahmed Kathrada spent 18 years of his imprisonment on Robben Island. After his release, he stayed involved in the activities around the prison when it became a museum.
He also served as the head of Ex-Political Prisoners Committee, the chairman of Robben Island Museum, and is also the chairperson of the Robben Island Museum Council. So throughout the years, he led many tours and delegations to the island, including heads of state, celebrities, ordinary South Africans, and many of them children.
He continued to tell the story of his and other political prisoners' time on the island, and he has visited the island over 300 times since his release. The montage we'll look at now starts at the turn of the century in 1999, when former political prisoner, including former President Dr. Nelson Mandela and Kathrada, of course, his lifelong friend, visited the island to usher in the new millennium.
When we came here, we were the enforced guests of Verwoerd. Then we were the enforced guests of Foster, then Botha, then de Klerk. And now we are the voluntary guests of President Mandela.
The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa.
Racial discrimination on Robben Island, as in the whole of South Africa, was categorized. On top of the ladder are whites with a franchise and all privileges. Immediately under were coloreds and Indians with laws that applied to them, but they couldn't vote either. And at the bottom of the ladder were the Africans. So I explained in detail how this discrimination worked in prison. For instance, just one example, two examples. Mr. Mandela and African prisoners, when we landed there, had to wear short trousers. I was given long trousers because I'm an Indian. We could not be brought out unless there was a warder with a gun training on us. And they, after being locked up, they used to bring warders from other prisons just to have a look at these people through the window.
Officials, marshals of the National Reception Committee trying to get the people, and a salute from Mr. Nelson Mandela, his wife Winnie, greeting the people outside the fences of the Victor Verster prison. That is the man who the world has been waiting to see.
Now that we have won the struggle for democracy, the importance of Robben Island continues. It's a continuous thing. It was important in the past, it remains important in the future, because it does symbolize the victory of the forces of democracy over injustice. And it follows logically on the solidarity that the international community showed towards not only prisoners of Robben Island, but through Robben Island, their solidarity with the struggle of all the people of South Africa. And this is a continuous, logical continuation of that solidarity when UNESCO decided that this should be declared a World Heritage Site. With freedom comes responsibility, particularly among young people. Responsibility to themselves, to their parents, to their country. The responsibility is today all avenues that were closed to them before are open. Our country needs expertise, skills in every direction. And today institutions that were closed to us before are open. So our wish is to take full advantage of everything that was closed before, so that you can serve, repeat, yourselves, your parents, and your country.
Tulasi Zwema Unaboka